Origins of the Starborn. Humanity's first tentative steps beyond Earth were modest: probes to Mars, automated ships to the outer planets. But each success sparked ambition. For centuries, Earth had been crowded, its resources strained, its nations fractured by politics and ideology. Survival demanded more than ingenuity. It demanded daring, collaboration, and a resilience no other species could match. Humans, forged in adversity, were ready. The first colonies beyond the solar system were small, isolated, and fragile. Life support systems failed. Viruses unknown to Earth struck settlers. Political tensions threatened to collapse expeditions before they even began. Yet humans adapted. Engineers designed atmospheric processes that transformed hostile environments into habitable worlds. Doctors and biologists learned to manipulate alien pathogens, not merely to survive, but to thrive. Every failure became a lesson. Every obstacle was a stepping stone toward mastery. By the time humanity achieved faster-than-light travel, it was no longer a collection of scattered settlements but a species united by necessity and vision. Ships streaked across light years, carrying colonists who were not just explorers, but builders, diplomats, and scientists. Their advantage lay not merely in technology, but in something deeper, a unique combination of curiosity, creativity, and sheer stubbornness. First contact with an alien species arrived sooner than expected. The HFY, a silicon-based civilization, observed humans with bewilderment. Unlike any other species, humans were unpredictable. They negotiated when others might fight, improvised when others would retreat, and never yielded in the face of impossible odds. In skirmishes over disputed resources, humans employed strategies that seemed reckless yet effective. Feints, ambushes, and innovations that no alien intelligence could anticipate. Where others saw chaos, humans found opportunity. Humans did not conquer for glory or vengeance. They conquered because they could, because survival demanded adaptability, and because each victory reinforced the unspoken truth of their species. Obstacles existed to be overcome. Word of their success spread quickly among neighboring civilizations. Tales of human ingenuity, persistence, and audacity became legends. Some aliens admired them. Others feared them. Few understood them. The Terran Unity Council, the first governing body to unify humanity's colonies, embodied this spirit. Unlike rigid alien hierarchies, the Council valued experimentation, flexibility, and initiative. Every colonist, soldier, or scientist contributed to a culture that prized not conformity, but resourcefulness. Humans could improvise solutions, challenge assumptions, and unite under common purpose, even in situations that defied logic. And so, from scattered colonies and fragile beginnings, humanity began its slow, unstoppable ascent. It was a species forged in struggle, tempered by adversity, and propelled by a vision greater than any individual. Unseen by most alien civilizations, humans were already leaving their mark across the stars, not just as conquerors, but as something more, a force of nature, unpredictable and extraordinary, destined to rise above all expectations. Dominion among the stars. By the 3rd century of interstellar expansion, humanity had transformed from scattered colonies into a coordinated, unstoppable force. Star systems that were once distant and uninhabitable now thrummed with human activity. Cities floating in orbit, planetary settlements humming with industry, and fleets of starships traversing the void with both purpose and speed. Humanity was no longer just surviving. It was mastering the galaxy. The turning point came in the Syndral Expanse, where the Zytherians, a proud and technologically advanced alien civilization, controlled hundreds of star systems. They viewed humanity as a minor nuisance, expecting that a few strikes would drive humans back to their colonies. They underestimated the species they had observed for decades. Humans did not fight like any other civilization. They combined strategy with improvisation, boldness with patience. Where the Zytherians relied on protocol, humans relied on ingenuity, unpredictability, and the willingness to risk everything. In the first confrontation, Zytherian fleets overwhelmed a human outpost. Yet, instead of surrendering, humans adapted quickly. They redirected supply chains, used natural asteroid fields as cover, and launched counterattacks that exploited weaknesses the Zytherians hadn't anticipated. By the time the Zytherians realized their miscalculation, entire trade routes were under human control. No single battle won the war. Humans won through persistence, creativity, and the refusal to accept defeat. Humanity's dominance spread not only through force but through diplomacy. Alien species who observed human behavior were astonished at their ability to combine conquest with cooperation. Humans forged alliances when possible, integrating alien technology, culture, and knowledge into their own empire without losing their identity. Colonies became cultural hubs where humans and aliens worked side by side, creating innovations that no single species could have imagined alone. Yet humans never stopped pushing boundaries. Fleets explored regions beyond charted space, mapping wormholes, discovering new star systems, and establishing contact with civilizations that had never heard of Earth. Every encounter, whether hostile or cooperative, reinforced a singular truth. Humans thrived under conditions that other species found impossible. They were flexible, inventive, and utterly unpredictable. By the 5th century, humanity's empire spanned hundreds of star systems. Alien historians recorded humans as an enigma, a species that could conquer without domination, innovate without arrogance, and inspire both fear and admiration. Stories of human audacity spread like wildfire. In one legendary engagement, a single human vessel, outnumbered 50-1, used decoy signals, spatial anomalies, and improvisational maneuvers to rout an entire enemy fleet. Accounts like this became folklore across the galaxy, and yet, to humans, it was simply another day's work. Amid this growing empire, whispers of the extraordinary began to circulate. Entire fleets occasionally vanished in uncharted space, returning altered or not at all. Ancient alien ruins and cryptic signals hinted at possibilities humans themselves barely understood. Yet the humans pressed forward, exploring, innovating, and expanding, not for fame, but because the stars themselves demanded it. Humanity had become more than a species. It was a force, a civilization defined by courage, creativity, and relentless determination. Alien observers could record their victories, but they could never fully predict their next move. The galaxy had learned a new truth. Humans did not merely conquer space. They transformed it, leaving an indelible mark wherever they went. Shadows of the unknown. For centuries, humanity had pushed forward with relentless curiosity, exploring every corner of the galaxy. But then, anomalies began to appear at the outer edges of human-controlled space. Entire fleets vanished without warning. Colonies went dark, and communication relays transmitted distorted signals that no translator could decipher. Initially dismissed as natural phenomena, rogue gravitational fields, spatial instabilities, or uncharted wormholes, the pattern grew too consistent to ignore. The Terran Unity Council convened its most urgent session in decades. Scholars and strategists debated the cause, some advocating caution, others insisting that retreat was impossible for a species that had never known surrender. Admiral Thane, commander of the Orion fleet, reminded the Council of humanity's history. We have faced starvation, disease, war, and exile. We do not vanish. We adapt. We endure. That is who we are. Exploration missions were dispatched into the most dangerous sectors, revealing fragments of intelligence that confounded even the most brilliant human minds. Gigantic structures floated aimlessly in the void, remnants of civilizations lost to time. Asteroids bore inscriptions in alien languages. Star systems exhibited energy signatures that defied conventional physics, and signals oscillated across dimensions beyond ordinary perception. Whatever force had shaped these anomalies was ancient, vast, and incomprehensible. As humans pressed further, the phenomena escalated. Entire colonies ceased contact simultaneously. Ships investigating these regions either failed to return or came back altered in subtle but disturbing ways. The crew reported visions, memories of events that had never happened, and a profound sense of being watched by an intelligence beyond comprehension. Alien civilizations watched with mounting alarm. Some feared humanity had triggered a catastrophe. Others speculated that humans had discovered a method of existence so advanced that it rendered physical presence unnecessary. Despite warnings, humans pressed onward, driven by curiosity, necessity, and the fundamental trait that had always defined them, a refusal to surrender. The Council authorized the construction of the Ascendancy Project, a secretive initiative aimed at understanding, and perhaps transcending, the strange anomalies. Scientists, philosophers, and engineers collaborated, developing technology that could manipulate matter, energy, and consciousness on a scale previously deemed impossible. Then, without warning, humanity vanished. Fleets, colonies, and communication networks, gone. Systems that had thrived under human administration fell silent. Alien observers were left with fragments of records, cryptic messages, strange mathematical sequences, and enigmatic structures hinting at a species that had moved beyond known dimensions. Speculation ran rampant. Had humanity ascended into higher planes of existence? Had they merged with the fabric of the universe itself? Or had they chosen self-erasure as the ultimate experiment, a final testament to their ingenuity, audacity, and independence? The galaxy would never know for certain. The humans who had conquered the stars had vanished, leaving only mysteries behind. And yet, even in absence, their presence was felt. Every civilization that had encountered humans remembered their resourcefulness, their courage, and their relentless drive. Humans had once transformed the galaxy. Now, their disappearance became the ultimate transformation, proof that no species could be entirely understood, predicted, or confined. Legacy of the vanished. Centuries had passed since humanity disappeared, yet their impact on the galaxy remained undeniable. Entire civilizations still remembered the humans, not as conquerors, but as a force that had redefined possibility. The once bustling colonies and fleets were gone, yet alien species studied the ruins, preserved records, and debated the final choices of a species that had reached heights no other had ever achieved. Philosophers and historians speculated endlessly. Had humans discovered a way to transcend physical existence, leaving the material universe behind? Had they merged consciousness with the cosmos, achieving a form of life that could not be contained or measured? Or had they, in an ultimate act of agency, chosen disappearance as a demonstration that survival was not merely biological, but existential? The answers eluded even the most brilliant minds. Despite uncertainty, humanity's legacy endured in tangible ways. Star systems once governed by humans continued to thrive, carrying forward their principles of adaptability, collaboration, and innovation. Trade networks, scientific institutions, and cultural hubs persisted, blending human ingenuity with local traditions. Alien leaders, once wary of humans' audacity, now used their strategies as lessons. Flexibility, creativity, and courage were more powerful than brute force alone. The greatest gift humanity left behind, however, was not technology or governance. It was inspiration. Across the galaxy, species found themselves asking questions they had never dared before. What limits exist only in the mind? How far can ingenuity carry a civilization? What does it mean to refuse surrender, even in the face of the incomprehensible? To encounter humans was to confront possibility itself. Stories of human audacity became myth and legend. One recounted a fleet outnumbered 50 to 1, yet through improvisation, cunning, and sheer persistence, it prevailed against a technologically superior foe. Another described explorers entering uncharted space, never to return, yet leaving clues that suggested existence beyond ordinary comprehension. Such tales reminded the galaxy that humans had never followed predictable patterns. They had acted according to a vision beyond ordinary understanding. Alien civilizations incorporated these lessons in diverse ways. Some reformed governments to encourage risk-taking and collaboration. Scientists pursued bold experiments inspired by human curiosity. Artists wove human stories into epic works, celebrating a species that had challenged the very fabric of reality. Even religions found themselves altered, pondering the moral and philosophical significance of a species that had conquered, yet vanished, leaving no tyrants or oppressors, only questions. And yet, for all the study, speculation, and homage, one truth remained: humans could not be fully understood. The galaxy had witnessed their rise and their mastery of the stars, but their final act, vanishing without trace, was a reminder that some forces could never be contained, explained, or predicted. Humans had reshaped not only the galaxy but the very idea of what a species could become. In the silent voids where humanity once thrived, alien scholars whispered a shared sentiment. Humans had conquered the stars and then vanished, but in doing so, they had left something far greater, a challenge and a promise. A species that refuses to surrender, that thrives in adversity, and that days to reach beyond comprehension would never truly be gone. Somewhere, beyond the perception of others, humanity's journey continued, a testament to the boundless potential of a species unshackled by limits.